The 2024 US presidential election sent shockwaves across the globe, capturing the attention of millions as the results poured in. In a dramatic turn of events, Donald Trump reclaimed the Oval Office, marking a significant moment in American political history. His victory, though not entirely unforeseen, has reignited anxieties about the future of American democracy and the global order. Conversations in cafes, heated debates on news shows, and concerned citizens glued to their screens reflect the nation's divided sentiment. Trump's transition has been anything but smooth. The White House, a symbol of stability, now finds itself at the center of a storm of controversy and uncertainty. The appointments to his cabinet, a mix of loyalists and controversial figures, have raised eyebrows. Each announcement has been met with scrutiny as the public and political analysts dissect the implications of these choices. His early actions, particularly executive orders targeting environmental regulations and immigration, have sparked protests and legal challenges. The streets have filled with demonstrators, and courtrooms are bracing for a wave of legal battles. The return of familiar faces to key positions, some with tarnished reputations from Trump's previous administration, has fueled concerns about a return to divisive policies and a disregard for democratic norms. These appointments have not only stirred memories of past controversies, but have also raised questions about the future direction of the country. The speed at which Trump is moving to dismantle the policies of his predecessor has also alarmed many, signaling a potentially tumultuous term ahead. Analysts are closely watching each move while protesters continue to voice their opposition, fearing the erosion of hard-fought progress. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris, who played a significant role in the previous administration, has emerged as a leading voice of opposition. Her speeches and public appearances have galvanized supporters and underscored the deep divisions within the country. Harris's continued influence in the political landscape suggests that the battle for America's future is far from over. Trump's return to power has resurrected a multitude of concerns that plagued his previous presidency. Allegations of corruption, conflicts of interest, and ethical violations have resurfaced, casting a shadow over his administration from the outset. His rhetoric, often inflammatory and divisive, has raised concerns about the potential for increased social unrest and polarization. The amplification of misinformation and disinformation, a hallmark of his previous campaigns, continues to pose a threat to democratic discourse and public trust. The international community, already wary of Trump's unpredictable nature, is watching his every move with a mixture of apprehension and skepticism. His past actions, including withdrawing from international agreements and engaging in trade wars, have left many questioning his commitment to global cooperation and stability. One of the most alarming developments in the wake of Trump's victory has been the reported discussions within the Pentagon about how to handle potentially illegal orders from the Commander-in-Chief. These discussions are not just theoretical, they reflect a real and present concern among military leaders about the potential for orders that could put them at odds with their oath to the Constitution. This unprecedented situation underscores the deep-seated fears about Trump's respect for the rule of law and the limits of presidential power. Military officials are grappling with the possibility that they might be asked to carry out directives that could undermine democratic principles and the very fabric of American governance. Trump's past calls for the use of military force against American citizens have only heightened these concerns. His rhetoric has often suggested a willingness to use the military in ways that are traditionally reserved for foreign threats, not domestic issues. His admiration for authoritarian leaders, who frequently use their military to maintain control and suppress dissent, adds another layer of worry. The parallels drawn between Trump's actions and those of authoritarian regimes are not lost on the military leadership. Trump's disdain for dissent and his aggressive stance towards protesters have fueled concerns about his willingness to deploy the military domestically for political purposes. The idea of using military force to quell political opposition is antithetical to the principles of democracy and civil liberties. The potential for a constitutional crisis, should such a scenario arise, is a chilling prospect. Military leaders are acutely aware of the delicate balance they must maintain between following orders and upholding their constitutional duties. The military, traditionally apolitical and sworn to uphold the Constitution, finds itself in uncharted territory. The principles of civilian control of the military and the apolitical nature of the armed forces are being tested in ways not seen in recent history. The possibility of receiving orders that violate their oath or contradict their values presents a moral and legal dilemma of unprecedented proportions. Military leaders are preparing for the worst while hoping for the best, knowing that their actions in the coming months could have profound implications for the future of American democracy. Election results in key races, a nation divided. The 2024 election results painted a stark picture of a nation deeply divided along ideological, racial, and socio-economic lines. While Trump ultimately secured victory, the margins in several key states were razor-thin, highlighting the fragility of his mandate. The Democrats, despite losing the presidency, managed to retain control of the House of Representatives, albeit with a reduced majority. The Senate, however, remained in Republican hands, ensuring that Trump's legislative agenda would face significant hurdles. The election also saw several historic firsts, with a record number of women and minorities elected to Congress. These victories, while offering a glimmer of hope for a more inclusive and representative democracy, also underscored the deep divisions that continue to plague American society. The Democrats reckoning introspection and a search for answers. In the aftermath of their defeat, the Democratic Party finds itself at a crossroads. The loss has triggered a period of deep reflection and analysis within the party. Leaders and members alike are grappling with the reasons behind their failure to secure victory. The soul-searching has begun, with many questioning the party's message, strategy, and ability to connect with voters in the heartland. There is a growing realization that the party's traditional strongholds are no longer guaranteed. Some argue that the Democrats have become too reliant on identity politics, focusing too much on specific demographic groups at the expense of a broader, more inclusive message. This approach, they say, has alienated working-class voters who feel left behind by globalization and cultural changes. These voters, once a reliable base for the party, now feel disconnected and overlooked. Others contend that the party has failed to effectively counter Republican attacks. The relentless negative campaigning has painted the Democrats as out of touch with the concerns of ordinary Americans. This perception has been particularly damaging in small towns and rural areas where voters feel their voices are not being heard. The challenge now is to bridge this gap and rebuild trust. The debate over the direction of the party is likely to be fierce and protracted. Different factions within the party have varying views on the best path forward, leading to intense discussions and disagreements. The stakes are high as the Democrats attempt to regroup, redefine their message, and regain the trust of voters who have drifted away. This process will require not only strategic adjustments, but also a genuine effort to listen to and address the concerns of all Americans. As the party looks to the future, the focus will be on building a more inclusive and resonant platform, engaging with voters on a personal level. Understanding their struggles and offering tangible solutions will be key to revitalizing the Democratic Party and paving the way for future success. Markets reactions. A mix of optimism and uncertainty. The initial reaction of the financial markets to Trump's victory was a mix of optimism and uncertainty. The stock market, after some initial volatility, rallied, with investors betting that Trump's policies would boost corporate profits. However, some economists have cautioned that the long-term economic impact of Trump's policies remains unclear. His protectionist trade policies, tax cuts for the wealthy, and deregulation could lead to inflation, trade wars, and increased inequality. The global economy, already grappling with the effects of the pandemic and geopolitical tensions, is bracing for a period of turbulence and uncertainty under a Trump presidency. The potential for disruption to trade, investment, and financial markets is high. Social and political fallout. A nation on edge. Trump's return to power has exacerbated the social and political divisions that have plagued American society in recent years. His rhetoric and policies have emboldened extremist groups, while his attacks on the media and democratic institutions have eroded public trust. The rise of political violence, fueled by misinformation and conspiracy theories, poses a serious threat to public safety and civil liberties. The erosion of democratic norms, including respect for the rule of law and the peaceful transfer of power, is deeply concerning. The international community is watching with trepidation as America, once a beacon of democracy and stability, grapples with its internal demons. The potential for America's domestic turmoil to spill over into the international arena is a sobering thought.